In this section, we are going to be covering how to create holes or the reverse pull method. Now that we have learned how to create 3D geometry from a sketch using the pull technique by adding material, it's also time to learn how to modify existing 3D geometry. The first example or instance of this case would be creating a hole in a solid object. So imagine you have the cylinder portrayed on the right, but you don't want a cylinder, you actually more so desire a pipe. But let's say that you already have this geometry created, so it's not efficient to scrap it and start from scratch. If we go into the demonstration, obviously you could create a pipe by creating a multiple surface area geometry as such, and then clicking the pull tool and extruding only the outer surface area. However, if you already have this geometry or a cylindrical geometry, how would you go about actually creating a hole in this instead of actually scrapping the whole project and starting again fresh? Well, this is a very important tool and skill to learn and become comfortable with. It's part of the editing already existing 3D geometry concept. So, how do we go about this? Well, similarly to how we first created our first 3D geometry, which was similarly a cylinder, we started off from a sketch. So in this situation as well, when we want to cut a hole through this cylinder, we need to define a sketch and dimensions, or sort of a reference geometry, for the whole dimension and position that we would like to cut through the cylinder. How do we go about that? Well, first, you need to go back into sketch mode, because currently we are in 3D mode after the pull. Once you hit sketch mode, you can see that you are prompted to select a sketch plane. And as you highlight different areas of your model, the little helpful grid that you get, the sketching grid, also shifts depending on what you highlight. This is because right now we need to select what plane we actually wish to sketch on, right? You can't sketch in 3D space, really. You can only sketch on a plane. So let's start by selecting this top face of the cylinder as our desired sketch plane. Now, as you can see, the geometry is a bit grayed out and we are in sketch mode. Now, if we just manipulate our little geometry over here so we can see it a bit better, we can, on the sketch grid or pad, start sketching our reference geometry for the hole that we are going to cut. If we just draw a circle over here as an example, how do we go about turning this 2D sketch into a hole through our currently existing 3D model? Well, similarly as when we added material, taking away material is also done via the pull tool. So we click that, and as you can see, it takes us back into 3D mode because pull is a 3D manipulation, and it lets us select different areas. But now you can see that the circle that we drew previously allowed us to select this inner surface area of the cylinder. Over here on the left hand section of the workspace, you can see our options ribbon. Over here, you can define the pull operation as a cut procedure, where, as the text box shows, this is a process that would remove material when you pull through it. If we click on that and we simply drag it through all the way, this will give us a hole through our object or our geometry. However, let's discuss a few more shortcuts, tips, and features on the topic of this tool. If you click over here again, select the face, select the cut operation. If you know exactly you want to pull it all the way through and you don't want to drag it, or the model is relatively big for a drag operation, you can simply click this up to button, and this allows you to specify where you want to drag this up to, or up to what point, what geometry, what reference, or what surface. And in this scenario, if we simply click on this bottom edge, we're telling SpaceClaim that we want to drag this top geometry all the way down up to, as the name of the tool implies, this surface over here. And it does it automatically without any dragging operations. Obviously, you can do a lot of quick 3D geometry manipulation if you know all the hotkeys for this. However, let's say, and this is another good learning opportunity, that you wish to modify or add a hole on the outer surface area. As you can see, if we select sketch again, it doesn't really allow us to select this surface on the outside, or it doesn't give us a sketch plane preview. That's because it's really hard for SpaceClaim to actually infer or determine where ideally you'd want to place the plane on. So how would we go about this? Well, over here on the Create tab, you can see that you have a nice little rectangular looking button which is called Plane. And this one, what we can use it for is to actually define a plane in our geometry, an additional plane to what we already have. And as you can see, this one actually gives us a preview of where we'd like to place the plane. So as an example, let's place the plane over here just on this surface. Again, please note how all of the actions that we do are reflected in the structure tree on the left-hand side. So once we added the plane, it also appears here on the structure tree. If we go back into sketch mode, you can see that now it lets us define our sketch plane to be this previously defined plane or newly defined plane that we've done. You can define it either by clicking it over here, or if you more so wish to, if you click on sketch and I had the plane tool selected, sorry about that. If we click on sketch plane, we can also select the plane from the structure tree. If it's not that simple to actually click it, or it doesn't select it from the workspace, you can simply select it from the structure tree if you want a more precise selections, or if you have several geometry that's in a very tight space and you want to select a specific plane or geometrical reference, you can do so more accurately using the structure tree. So after we selected this sketch plane over here, we can start doing our little sketches. So we can do a few just as an example. Actually, you know what? Let's do a rectangular face over here, just like this, just so we can play around with a bit of a different geometry. If we go into the pool tool, click cut, select this new face or window that we've drawn, we can actually cut it straight through our model. And would you look at that? We've managed to remove material just from a curved surface. This can be really useful when creating some clever or more complicated geometry. Now, let's see what we've covered. So we've covered how to draw or how to define sketch planes on different areas of a 3D model, how you can use the pull tool to perform a cutting action, how to create holes through a solid body.